Hey guys, it's Coach Gaglione here from GaglioneStrength.com. We got another strong lady on the line today, Kim Walford. How you doing today?
Hey everybody, just shopping in Lowe's, no big deal.
Multitasking, I love it. So, for those of you people maybe that don't know who you are, can you introduce yourself and what you got going on right now?
My name's Kimberly Walford. I'm a powerlifter all day, every day. I've been lifting about 15 years. Five-time IPF Open World Champion, but I also lifted equipped for 8 years, and I'm all about powerlifting.
All
Oh,
right,
multi-time national champion.
there you
Yeah.
go. And then, can you just, for people that are watching, what are some of your best lifts?
Best raw lift: squat 410, bench 253, deadlift 534.6 pounds. Best total is 1190.
There you go.
Used to lift equipped too. 418. I can't remember my bench. Damn, it's been that long. And dead has been 556 was my best.
Nice.
Equipped single ply pull.
I remember that poll. That was pretty historic. So, awesome stuff. Great. So I just want to kind of rewind a little bit. So you've been lifting a long time, been really competitive for many years. 15 years is a long time doing something. How did you actually first get involved in powerlifting, and when did you start actually just strength training with a barbell?
Believe it or not, I actually started lifting weights when I was 13. I was a freshman in high school, and my track coach, high school track coach, wanted us to not only be fast, but he said we needed to be strong, and it's been a part of my athletic career since then. I got into powerlifting when I was in the military. One of my training buddies was like, "Hey, there was a bench meet. Want you to come compete?" And I was like, "Nah, I don't like that stuff." And then finally, he convinced me, and never looked back then. 15 years later.
So would you say was that just doing your first competition? Was that when you kind of knew like, man, I love this. I want to kind of keep going, or was there? Yeah, that was kind of like it.
Literally after it, I started researching anything and everything I could find out about powerlifting.
Very cool. And then so obviously you got multiple time national champion, IPF world champion. You got all these records. Was there ever like a defining moment where you're like, man, I could be like pretty good at this, and I want to kind of take this to the next level?
When I went to my first nationals, I competed as a junior, and I won the national title. And that's when I really started to figure out, well, yeah, I'm competitive. I can do this. And from that point on, I was like, just like track. I ran track most of my life, and I never thought I'd find a sport that I loved as much as track. And then powerlifting, and at that national meet, I knew from that point on that I was going to be a powerlifter.
Very
It was
cool.
solidified.
Very cool. Um, and then so like in track and field, were you like really competitive with that? Were you always like athletic and like kind of naturally kind of explosive, or is that something you had to like work on?
I was a I was all state every year. I competed. I would make it to states in four out of the five events, at least four every year. So I was competitive on the state level. I ended up getting a track scholarship. I had a few offers with, and I ended up using the academic instead, an academic scholarship, because I felt like I was able to have the option of working. Because I don't know, for most people know that when you get a college scholarship, they don't want you to work,
Sure.
and I wanted to make extra money. So
Cool. So you have a military background as well, which maybe some people don't know. Has that been like a
do you need
big
me to get the car?
influence on your mental
Oh,
strength? Sure.
I'm sorry. What's it? Do you need me to get the car? Okay, sorry.
So all good. So
Good.
just your military background, that experience, like has that helped you like mentally? Has that discipline kind of helped you like in powerlifting? Like how has that kind of changed you like as a person, your time in the military?
I feel like the my military experience was just an extension of me doing my civil duty. I feel like just me being a lifter or any other aspect of my life, I think it's something that's character within the individual.
Sure.
And but I wouldn't trade my time for the military for anything. I'm thankful that I've been able to serve my community and my country, and I continue to do so present day. So it's not for everybody, but it was
Yeah.
for me. So.
Very cool. And so you've had a lot of success, but I know like things, maybe you have a bad call here, or you've had some injuries. Have you had any setbacks? And then if so, like how did you kind of overcome them?
Uh, think first thing is taking a moment to yourself and reevaluating, is this something you really want to do? Understanding what happened. Was it something that was in your control? Because, yeah, like other lifters, I've gotten bad calls. I've gotten things that I was responsible for. I'm recovered from injury, but all in all, you have to, like I said, take that moment and think to yourself, even with all that happening, is this something that you still want to commit to? And if so, then you'll do what's necessary to keep yourself in the game, no matter what they try and throw at you.
Very cool. Well, it's really really strong mindset there. So when you're approaching a big lift on the platform, like 500 plus deadlift, 530, whatever it is, and you're going for like a world record, national record. What's kind of your mental approach when you're getting to the bar, and like what's kind of going through your head when that's happening when you're going for those big lifts?
If I'm in my mind, I'm thinking I'm about to wreck this shit. I'm all about let's destroy. I've done all I can to prepare for this moment. I'm ready, and let's just get it. Let's just do this. Like how you see the intensity in my face right
Yeah,
now. That's how I approach lifting, and that's how you have to be. You have to 100% believe that you can do it, and you have to be ready to do it when the time comes. So
awesome. So you're kind of unleashing that
damn, I
intensity
felt
when you need it.
pumped.
Yeah, it's getting you fired up over there. People are like, what's going on with this girl over here?
It's lows, man. It's lows. It's
uh,
pre-Christmas.
one thing I always notice about you too, especially with the deadlift, you have a very unique like setup, and it seems like you kind of set up the exact same way every time. Um, is that something kind of like you practice in your training, kind of like really like focusing on like that same setup every time, and what advice do you kind of give someone maybe to kind of develop like a more consistent like technique in like their lifts?
I think it's something that just has evolved over time. Like once you learn proper technique regarding each lift, it just everyone comes up with their own way of setting up.
Sure.
And you notice that with each lifter, that specific way of setting up also helps fine tune those specific oh sorry, somebody was walking by. It also fine tunes the importance of understanding, the taking in the air, squeezing the bar, maintaining tightness. It does all that. And I feel like just consistency over time builds habit, and that's what happens. Everyone has their own way of setting up. And what was the other half of that question you said about?
Like yeah, like so. What advice could you kind of give someone maybe starting out that maybe they're not as consistent, like their lifts kind of help build their technique up?
As long as you have an awesome coach who knows what the hell that they're talking about,
Sure.
and you also take it upon yourself to understand the importance of proper technique. Listen to the specific cues that your coach, he or she, tells you,
Sure.
and remember that you have to have confidence in knowing that what they're telling you works, because the more you do it, the more you'll see it in your training, and it will carry over the competition. It's all about you also being patient enough to understand that it's going to take time for you to learn that proper technique, but realizing that once you do, it's everything else gets easier in the sense that you getting stronger will be easier because you won't have to worry about having to compensate for bad, technique. So that's
Cool.
what I would say. Listen to your coach and read.
Educate yourself for sure. I think that's great advice.
Educate yourself.
Cool. So I just want to kind of rewind a bit. So like when we first met, kind of funny story. I didn't know who you were at the time, and I think people kind of walking on the street, they probably, if someone had to guess, you got some baggy clothes on right now, they might not expect someone for you to pick up 500 pounds. And I remember like meeting you, and it was kind of funny. I was like, oh, I'm like, do you like work out? Do you like compete? And you're like, well, I won like XYZ meet, and this is my, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, and then I kind of put two and two together, and I'm like, my bad, but you were like really cool about it. You weren't like, you didn't get like mad or anything. So you're such a high level lifter, but you've always kind of, you have a great attitude. You have fun. You're humble. What advice do you have for people kind of maybe that are up and coming? They're starting to like achieve some success, and how do you how do you stay so humble and like kind of, it seems like you have a good time. Also, you don't like, you take it serious, but you don't like kind of beat yourself up over like if you have setbacks and things like that. You have a really good like positive outlook always, it seems. So is that something you kind of always had, or like what just tell us a little bit about that.
I would say it's something that I always had. I'd say once again, it's something about the character of the individual, and that you have to realize first and foremost that you being strong, it's a gift. It's a gift of strength, and it could be taken from you at any moment.
Cool.
It's not guaranteed for the future, and
Sure.
that you just have to respect it and honor it by not only using it for yourself, but helping others as well. And I feel like as long as someone remains humble and understands that and understands the importance of what they've been given, that it's easy for them to remain humble. But I also tell people on the other hand that if you don't remain humble, it'll not only reflect negatively on you as a person,
Sure.
but best believe the people around you will see it as well. And I feel like when you have achieved some sense of success in our sport or any arena, you should be humble because you're not only just lifting for yourself, you're an ambassador to others. So you have to remember that, and people will want to look to you to be able to give advice. And if you're a tool, then that's just not going to happen.
Cool.
So
Yeah, I think it's like the old Spider-Man quote, like with great power comes great responsibility. I think that's
yeah, I like that.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
good. So yeah, just be like Spider-Man, right? So so
yeah.
good.
Be thankful and be nice, man.
Very cool. I love that. So I always enjoy catching up with you. So I know you got this. You do starting to do some seminars. You got this whole like Iron Sisters group. I love it. So you're kind of now spreading your knowledge, kind of educating others. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, and also like how that kind of got started, and kind of what the goal is with that kind of with these seminar series?
It actually began with our buddy up north, Frances Meneas. She's a Canadian lifter, and she actually started Iron Sisters up in Canada. And it was about basically, encouraging and empowering women to get into the sport of powerlifting. Because, traditionally, sometimes dealing with the stereotypes about women and lifting
Sure.
strong and how people say that. So we're there to dispel it, but not only to dispel those stereotypes, but to also to encourage women to get together and understanding the the importance of what it is to be confident in yourself and to enjoy the benefits of strength, not only physically but emotionally for yourself as well. So we were talking with Francis, we being myself, Jen Thompson, and Vanika Brown Law as well, and we came up with the idea. It was like, hey, it'd be cool if we could do this in America too. And Francis was okay with us doing it, and we decided, okay, we pushed it over to America. So we've been doing seminars. We've set up a bunch for next year since then. So
Awesome.
just want to promote. It's pro powerlifting. It's not federation specific. It's about it's about promoting powerlifting in a positive way
Love for
for
everybody.
not just women, even though we cater specifically it seems to women, but our Iron Brothers as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
And I think like regardless of like gender or like anything like that, like I think it's really important to kind of be open minded and kind of learn from everybody. And
Yeah,
I think like the message that you're sending, like sure it's empowering women, but just like strength in general can be empowering for everybody. It's going to give you more confidence. I think allow you to kind of excel in all areas of your life. That's something that we kind of preach at our gym as well. So very
exactly.
very cool stuff. Well, we're gonna kind of close out the call in a little bit, but thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find out more about you if they want to learn more about what you're doing, or maybe they want to check out, maybe someone wants to host a seminar? Where can people find you?
Well, for me, my Instagram is trackfu, TRACKFU. On Facebook, it's just my name, Kimberly C. Walford. And if you're interested in seeing seminars or having us do one for you guys, it's ironsistersusa.com. That's where
Very
you can
cool.
find us.
Awesome. We'll definitely give Kim a follow. I mean, she's one of my favorite lifters, and like I said, not just because of the amount of weight she lifts, but how she carries herself and kind of the message she sends. So always a pleasure catching up with you and wishing you the best in your up and coming meets. And I can't wait to see you and catch up more in the future. Definitely give us a follow. If this interview helps you, please share it. Please give us a 5-star review. It helps people find us. And check out the links below. Thanks so much, guys, for watching.
Of course. See you guys.